Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine. I'm a third-year civil engineering major.
My name's Samantha. I'm also a civil engineering major.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm a history major.
All right. So to begin our presentation, we did our story map on the Gentry family and their impact within Jefferson Chalmers. So we'll give you a background of how they got there, and then what they've done for Jefferson Chalmers as well as the greater Detroit area and their continued impacts today. We also want to mention that this is only one part of the Gentry family story. There are many other Gentrys making an impact in their communities, and this is only one family as well. There's many other families in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood. So to begin, we have a little introduction of what I just said, and then we have also included some instructions for using the map. So we start with the Morris family who came from, or who freed enslavement in North Carolina. And we have here on the map, they went to Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and Arkansas. And significantly in this family is Eudora Henry, who is the mother of the Gentry family, and she was the second born in 1896. And we go to William Gentry, who is the father of the Gentry family, and he was raised in Helena, Arkansas by his maternal grandparents. And we have a link to his family history here. William joined the U.S. Army and served during World War I, and he was followed many of his family in the military. So next we see that William Gentry and Eudora Henry meet at Arkansas Baptist College. Here's a picture of that. And they later become engaged while in Arkansas. And then they moved north to Detroit in 1920 is when they moved. And this is when many African Americans moved north in search of better economic opportunity. So they did just that. And they were married in Detroit, they were married in Highland Park, which, as you can see, is a little bit away from the city center of Detroit. And they were married for 47 years, and this is a poem from their last anniversary together. This is also their marriage certificate. William Gentry got a job at Ford Motor Company as part of the $5 a day movement. He only worked here for a few years because it was a very dirty and dangerous job. Then we see that William and Eudora, they settled in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood in the 1920s. And they rented a duplex at 346 Tennessee Avenue. So as you can see, it's right there on the map. This is on one of the Claire Point and Connor and Tennessee Avenues that was just talked about in the last presentation. And you can zoom in on the map there. This is what the house looks like today. So William Gentry began work at the post office in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood, and he worked here from 1924 to 1961. They had 7 children together: William Jr., Margaret, Eudora and Maddie, Bronson, Josephine, and Helen. This shows the Gentry family's 1930 census, and it tells us that they rented their duplex for $40 a month. And they also owned a radio. The Gentry children attended Keating Elementary School, which is no longer here today, but this was where they went, and they experienced a lot of racism here at a young age. It is now an empty lot. And then for high school, the Gentry children attended Southeastern High School, which, as you can see, is over here, which is not in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood. There was only 16 African American students out of 3,600 students, so they experienced a lot of racism again. Helen Gentry joined the US Air Force. And then we have the 1950 census, which shows that William Jr., the firstborn, and his wife Effie lived next door in the other part of the duplex. And we also see that Bronson Gentry, who was the fifth born, and he lived on Concord Street, which was not in the neighborhood.
So next we're going to talk about the Gentry family's impact within the Jefferson Chalmers community. We're going to have to go a little quick, but there's plenty more information on the story map to read later. So Eudora Gentry, the mother, was very influential in founding East Lake Baptist Church, although it wasn't until later when her children had moved out of the house that she got ordained and was a minister at a local Methodist church. She was very involved in both church communities throughout her life. Bronson Gentry began his community activism, helping clean up Algonquin Park, and he helped rename the park to the Maharis Park, who he named after his childhood friend, Peter Maharis, who died in World War II. Bronson began many community clubs and had a large impact on the local youth within the community, and one example of this is how he was the leader of Boy Scout Troop 187, who won the Silver Beaver Award. Bronson Gentry was trying to find funding to build a recreation center within Maharis Park, but the city of Detroit did not allot him the funding until he threatened to bus his African-American children to a park outside of the community in a predominantly white neighborhood. Bronson was also influential in creating Stark Elementary School, which was an elementary school that many of the community members attended just north of Maharis Park. After seeing what Victoria Park subdivision did to the Jefferson Chalmers community, as you can see, it drastically changed the street network and demolished so many homes. Bronson and other community members were very influential in stopping other redevelopments in the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood, like the Riverfront Drive project. For his volunteer work, Bronson Gentry was awarded the Lane Bryant Volunteer Award at the White House and personally received $5,000, which he used to feed and clothe members of the community. There are some photos of him and his wife Lois at the White House. He was also helped to create Jefferson Square, which is still today affordable senior housing within the Jefferson Chalmers community. He loved to play horseshoe and was even inducted into the Michigan Amateur Sports Hall of Fame. He used this fame to help found a horseshoe club within the Jefferson Chalmers community named the Pop Gentry Club, and many community members loved to play horseshoe with him, including his son Dexter. Even on his deathbed in the hospital, he was still fighting subdevelopments from developing within Maharis Park, and to everyone's surprise, he got well enough to leave the hospital and stop the developments within the park, which the Parks Group will talk a little bit more about. But one of the ways he did that was helping to make Maharis Park a historic district so that no other developments can take place within the park. To honor his sacrifice to the community and his commitment, the Maharis Park was renamed to the Maharis Gentry Park. He passed away in 2003, but per his wishes, his son Dexter spread his ashes at the park, and he is forever there.
Okay, now we're going to move on to their impact within Detroit and the greater Detroit area. To begin, Josephine and Helen Gentry attended the Civil Rights March in Washington, D.C. in August of '63. There they met Jackie Robinson and attended Martin Luther King's I Will Have a Dream speech. Helen Gentry was an active member in one of the first Black ski clubs in the United States. This club was called the Jim Dandy Ski Club of Detroit. She was a very active member and she retired from skiing at the age of 80. Helen Gentry was a teacher. She got her Master's of Arts in teaching from Wayne State. She moved to Southeastern High School where she faced a lot of racism, and then she transferred to Martin Luther King Senior High School. Helen Gentry helped rededicate St. John's Fellowship Hall in 1972. She paid for the marker, and Dexter Gentry, Bronson's son, came and with some of his coworkers helped put the marker in place when the workers did not arrive to set it up. Josephine Gentry, Josephine Huey was crowned Miss Senior Michigan and America. She was one of only 2 Miss Senior Michigans to go on to win the national pageant and was the first African-American to do so. Robbie Kendall was inducted into the Denby High School Hall of Fame. We have a pamphlet here. And then we'll move on to their impact today. Patty West Community Stewardship Award was given to the Gentry family for all their community activism. Helen wrote an autobiography that released when she was 83 years old. This had a lot of resources for our story map, and she donated it to us when we went to Detroit. Gentry's family involvement in the CTC, and here pictured on the right, we have them at the 40th CTC Gala. That's Dexter, Helen, and Josephine. Dexter Gentry is still trying to maintain and improve the Meharris Gentry Park to honor his father and community. I'm just going to read a quote from him really quick. Being that the park was named after my dad and the 40+ years he put into it, I hate to see his dream diminish or fade out. So I want to carry it out and keep it a reality. We need to develop it for all children. He founded an organization known as Take Me to the River. They created the Connor Creek Greenway, which connects East Side communities to the Detroit River. He's also still cleaning up the park all the time, planting trees and maintaining it for his father and his vision. Josephine Huey is pictured on the right here, dancing at the age of 90, still very involved in the community. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, she passed away at the age of 98 and left a long-lasting impact and legacy to everyone she met along in her journey. Meharris Gentry Park continues to be a place of community in the Jefferson-Chalmers neighborhood. And here we have a poem written by Dexter and his daughter. The park means a lot to people, and it's very important that it stays up. We just want to thank everyone from the Jefferson-Chalmers community for all their help at the Scanathon event. Big thank you to Dexter and Helen Gentry for giving us all this information about their lovely family.